Hi all, AD here from Hunts and Johns. Thanks so much for clicking on the video. Today I'm in deepest, darkest Surrey. I'm in a village called Crowhurst and I'm at the local church, and it has a very, very old yew tree here, a very, very long history, and I shall do voiceover because I'm sure you can hear it's very noisy here. We're right under the flight path from Gatwick.
St George's Church stands on high ground and would more than likely have been on the edge of a great forest. So it's between Lingfield and Tandridge. The beginnings of the church at Crowhurst are lost to the hands of times, and it's not mentioned in the Domesday Book. But legend suggests that long before St George's was a Christian place of worship, it was the site of a pagan altar. And certainly the splendid yew trees within the grounds, some hundreds of years old, some thousands of years old, mean for some people that it may have been a druidic altar. And they have this lovely old plough just outside the church grounds. Like many churches which were renamed St George after the Third Crusade, the dedication in 1191 of St George's in Crowhurst was originally and could have coincided with the period when St George had been made the patron saint of England. Crowhurst was mentioned in a valour of King Edward I in 1291 when it was taxed for 100 shillings, but it's not mentioned in the Domesday Book. And in a moment, as we enter the church, you'll notice there's 18th century graffiti, but also more exciting are deep grooves cut in the stone wall where the bowmen would have sharpened their arrowheads and more than likely would have used the branches of the yew trees to make their bows. A wooden tower and a spire were added in the 15th century, probably by two families which were very closely associated with the church. The Angels, or the Angles, I'm not sure how we pronounce that, who lived opposite the church at Mansion Farm, and the Gainsford, who lived at Crowhurst Place. Their tombs and memorials, I will show those to you in a minute with some lovely brasses. It's said that this waterfront was damaged due to a civil war skirmish nearby, but I'll talk a little bit about that later.
My God, it's creepy. Really, really creepy. I'm getting a bit spooked out, but we should go in nevertheless.
On the holy water font here, which are usually found near the entrances of the church, you'll find some faint engravings known as witch marks or Apotropaic marks. Apologies if I've said that wrong. They were carved hundreds of years ago to protect sacred spaces from evil spirits and witchcraft. They often take the form of circles, intersecting lines, or the letters VV, which there's several of on here, which stands for Virgo Virginium, the Virgin of Virgins, another name for the Virgin Mary. Marks like these are found across Europe, especially in medieval churches, barns and in homes. The chancel is said to be from the 15th century, and on the floor, when you look ahead to the right hand side of the altar, you'll see a cast iron memorial to Anne Forster, who was daughter and heir to Thomas Gainsford. It's very unusual. There was a lot of ironwork going on in the area at the time, but it's one of the only iron grave slabs in Surrey. As I said before, the Gainsford families were very, very prominent in the area at the time, and one of John the 7th, 15 daughters, 15 daughters. Here's one of the 2 Gainsford brasses that are inside the church, but one of John's daughters, Anne, was maid of honour to Queen Anne Boleyn, and it's said that Henry VIII stayed with the family at Crowhurst Place whilst he was visiting Anne Boleyn to court her at Hever Castle, which isn't actually that far away. One of the brasses, this one on the right, is from 1450, and the other one on the other side is John V, and that was from 1460. And then I found this, which is obviously a walk that was done back in October 2000, and this beautiful big monument chest. And this beautiful stained glass window depicting St. George is signed by Alexander Gibb. And on the floor here there are several tombs, including one of John Gainsford the 7th's wife, Anne Fiennes. So that might be one of those. You can see the holes there, obviously, to lift the slab up. I do wonder if they've ever actually lifted them up. So we're just going to pop outside and have a look around the graveyard.
That was the inside of the church. Some very interesting features, I'm sure you'd agree. I had to come out because I think it's really, really creepy in there. I don't know about you guys, if that comes across in the video, but it's going to be up there in my most haunted places, because it's definitely vibing in there without a shadow of a doubt. Right, let's go and we'll have a look around the graveyard, which is really old, and there's some fantastic yew trees. So yeah, let's go. And I love on these churches when you see the doorstep in and it's all worn away from many, many years of congregation going in there. So let's have a look around the graveyard.
And as I was walking around the graveyard, and there's these big tombs, these were obviously the important families in the area, and there's a big crack there. So I'm just going to stick my camera inside. Don't worry, there's nothing grim at all. And you can have a look and see what's inside. As you can see, nothing scary at all, just more stone slab work.
Beautiful yew tree. There's a few of them. I'm not sure how old this one is. This is the oldest tree in the UK. I believe the oldest yew. There's conflicting reports online. It's said to be 4,000 years old.
So the Crowhurst Yew is estimated to be 4,000 years old based on its size and its growth. In 1630 it was measured to be 30 feet, and again in the 20th century to be 32 feet. And they say that it's measured every St. George's Day. In the early 1800s a door was fitted into the hollow, and they said that there was chairs and tables in there, and there used to be local village meetings. Although you can see when I go around the side that the tree's kind of grown around the door. You can just see it on the right there. During work on the tree in the 19th century, because the roof had collapsed during a storm, they found a cannonball, and it was believed to date from the English Civil War, the mid-1600s. Crowhurst lies near an area where skirmishes were reported during the Civil War, so that could be a true story. But in 1940s, it was said that it was stolen by a Canadian soldier who was staying nearby during the Second World War at a camp. But when they realised he'd taken it, I don't know how they found out, maybe he was gossiping to his friends, it was actually returned to the church, although I have no idea where it's kept now, hopefully somewhere very, very safe. And in 1987, of course, it survived the massive hurricane that hit the southeast, and then afterwards a local company came in and secured it by fitting like chains and wooden supports, etc. And they reckon it's still got a few hundred years of life left in it. And I certainly do hope so. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, unbelievable. I'm not going to say any more words because I can't find any. I'm going to wrap the video up now. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed my video here from St George's in Crowhurst in Surrey. If you did enjoy it, if you could please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really means the world to me. And I shall see you for maybe a hunt or a jaunt next time. Who knows? Anyway, stay spooky.